Last week, I walked off my high school's football field for the last time. I felt genuinely happy because I could now abandon the place that was a source of stress for me and many other students. During the ceremony, I approached my diploma with confidence, and as I swiped it from my principal's hands, my subconscious ran through a recap of my time in school. I remembered every stage of education, from 1-minute times table tests to wrestling on senior night. I'm sure the other 600 were doing the same thing, but in my case, each memory was also coupled with the game I was playing at the time. For every math test I took, there was a Smash Bros. Character I unlocked with my time instead of studying. And for every sports event, there was an RPG I beat on the bus ride there. My combination of gaming and school, strangely enough, led to my graduation. And that's when I began to realize that if I had done anything differently in that time, like maybe taking better classes, eating healthier meals, pre-ordering new games, or speaking with just one more person, I wouldn't be the same Muhammad I am today. This is obviously because our memories, consisting of a complex series of events, are what cultivate our identities. But what if these memories were to become corrupted? Unfortunately, we have no way of knowing for sure. We can't explore each possible outcome of each possible situation unless we're Doctor Strange or something. But in Final Fantasy VII, Hironobu Sakaguchi, the executive producer, dares to answer this very question. And through interesting storytelling, we are shown just how important our memories are in shaping the people we will become. In the first episode of Hero Handbooks, we will analyze the beloved protagonist, Cloud Strife. I've actually wanted to make a video on this topic for a long time, because there's been a lot of hatred going around for Cloud and Final Fantasy VII in recent years. Whether it's character design, weird plot choices, or his unexpected inclusion in Smash, the internet has found ways to rip apart the influence that Final Fantasy VII once had. And while some of these criticisms are accurate, I want to offer my perceptions of Cloud, and reveal that there is more to him than the emo melodrama he and Final Fantasy VII have become synonymous with. To do this, we are going to need to understand Cloud's history, which spans multiple games and even a feature-length film. So considering this, and the fact that the video is a character analysis, you can expect plenty of spoilers. As a child, Cloud lived with his mother in Nibelheim. His father died early on, so aside from his weak friendship with his neighbor, Tifa Lockhart, Cloud was a loner from the outset. Now this is very important because Cloud, from even before the age of 10, is looking desperately for a place to belong. He has known only death at home, and although he is friends with Tifa, he doesn't like the people she surrounds herself with. And things only get worse when Tifa's mother dies. In a fit of denial, Tifa attempts to cross Mount Nibel and meet her mother's ghost. On the journey there, she's gravely injured, and although Cloud tries to save her, he is instead blamed for planning the entire escapade. I briefly mentioned the corruption of memories at the beginning of this video, and this is where the idea comes to fruition. Cloud immediately starts convincing himself that he was in fact responsible for Tifa's fatal injuries, and by extension he develops a behavioral anger disorder. Not only is Cloud a loner, but he is resented for his disabilities, and as a slave to his false memories, Cloud looks for any type of role model. He begins to look up to the powerful Shinra soldier known as Sephiroth, and decides to go to Midgar and follow in his footsteps. Cloud is only 14, and already his memories have changed the course of his life. Coupled with his vulnerability, things are only slated to get worse. Cloud is rejected from Shinra's soldier program, and is instead relegated to the infantry. In the events of Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII, this rejection allows him to meet Zack Fair, a newly inducted soldier. I don't necessarily want to run through all the details of the plot, but Crisis Core offers 3 important additions to Cloud's memory that once again change his life forever. First, there's the death of his mother, a character who, despite being minor, was responsible for him throughout his adolescence. Then there's his captivity with Zack under Professor Hojo, a mad scientist who wants to develop a method of mind control. By using the raw life force of the planet, Hojo exposes the two heroes to 4 years of cruel experimentation, until they eventually break out of the Shinra Manor basement. They escape for almost a year, and in that time, the third important addition to Cloud's memory occurs. Although Cloud was still unresponsive due to the Mako poisoning in his brain, Zack was able to confide in him his life story, as well as his plans for the future as they journeyed across the world. And when Zack is brutally murdered, Cloud's mind experiences a traumatic transformation that fuses Zack's stories and Cloud's own identity to create a false but ideal self-image of who he wants to be. Personally, I really hated high school, but Cloud's experiences do not even compare. He's suffered the deaths of his parents, the rejections by both Nibelheim and the soldier program, 4 years of human experimentation, and ultimately the loss of his beloved mentor and friend, Zack. His psyche is thoroughly ravaged by the start of Final Fantasy VII, leaving the reclamation of his true memory to be a central theme of the game. Most people who have taken to discuss Cloud's character on YouTube say that his story is reflective of Sakaguchi's own tragedy. During Final Fantasy VII's development, Sakaguchi actually went through the death of his own mother, an event that is believed to have influenced the entire direction of the story. But I want to argue that Cloud's character is actually a much more universal and relatable one than previously believed. You don't have to suffer through death or 4 years of slavery to get something out of this story. And this is because Final Fantasy VII is truly a discussion about regret and the feeling of wanting to change the past. Cloud's story isn't one of vengeance or sorrow, but of redemption. Sakaguchi may have been grieving over his mother's loss, and the other characters in Final Fantasy VII were certainly chasing after Sephiroth, but Cloud himself is really only after the truth, whatever that may be. And it turns out that when he learns the truth, it hurts. Cloud finds out that he isn't strong, likable, or exceptional as a child, but he accepts this nonetheless. He doesn't ignore it or cast it away as false this time, but he turns his current situation into a source of power. Like Cloud, we experience disappointment throughout our lives, and we often look back with an unhealthy feeling of longing. What if Cloud's parents might have lived and kept him company in his times of loneliness? Or what if his dreams would have come true as he found himself fighting side by side the legendary soldier Sephiroth? Cloud's dreams didn't come true. They tragically slipped the grasp of his reality. So when Zack's death in Crisis Core gave him the opportunity to change his perception on the harsh reality, he instinctively believed it. And naturally, we would do the same thing. Perhaps I could have taken that class or eaten that meal or spoke with that one person I never met. But I can't. There's no memory to fuse with. I'm graduated. There's no changing what I've done, and the longer we construct ideal personas or ideal outcomes to ideal situations, we are ignoring the opportunities to embrace what our memories have created. Whether you're satisfied or not, your memories and experiences have created the person you are today. And no matter what this entails, this truth by nature is something to take comfort in. With the same tenacity we experience vicariously through Cloud, any player can learn to move on from their past with self-respect, because as the credits rolled in Final Fantasy VII, you're taught to actively solve the problems that you're faced with. Cloud Strife may not have been able to remember himself as a soldier, but he was finally at peace with who his memories had created, a pale blonde boy with spiky hair. Thanks for watching.